Can you imagine that on our planet there are hundreds of thousands of people who don't know what electricity and the internet are? They rely solely on the sun and fire. They don't need clothes and stores, just animal skins and the teeth of their enemies. And they might even feast on a lost tourist. I'll tell you about the wild tribes that still exist. At the end, I'll even introduce you to the guys who ate the son of Rockefeller, who decided to tickle his nerves in New Guinea. I'll start with the Yanomami, a group of related indigenous tribes living in the Amazon jungles of Brazil and Venezuela. Known for their isolation from the outside world, they count about 35,000 people distributed across about 200 villages, with 50 to 300 residents each. These tribes build their communities based on kinship and interfamily marriages. They live in the jungle, leading a semi-nomadic lifestyle, engaging in agriculture and hunting. Their culture of clothing is based on minimalism due to the hot climate. Men and women adorn themselves with necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and brightly painted bodies, with no need for clothes. They have a special approach to menstruation and rituals associated with this period. Women are locked in a special hut for all the days, forbidden to leave or talk, not to attract the wrath of spirits. An important part of their culture is the killing ritual, which includes eating the flesh of the killed and then taking special routes to induce vomiting. This is how they disgrace the enemy even after death. They also practice endocannibalism, eating the ashes of cremated tribesmen, an important ritual for bidding farewell to the deceased. Historically, the Yanomami were associated with violence both within the tribe and with other tribes. This is due to competition for resources and the impact of Western culture through traders who bring discord and enmity to the community. Within the tribe, wars and violence were commonplace, with up to 50% of men dying from war consequences. Women also suffer from physical violence by their husbands, often being beaten and abused due to jealousy. Researchers know that the more aggressive men have more prestige in the community and more offspring, which may lead to the dominance of a culture of cruelty in the tribe. Karubo, an indigenous tribe living in the Jura River basin in the southern Amazon, are known as isolated Indians, reflecting their lack of contact with the outside world, preserving the lifestyle of their ancestors. Living in remote areas of the Amazon forest, they rarely interact with modern society. Their community members are estimated at several hundred, although exact figures are unknown. One of the astonishing aspects of the Karubo is their unusual diet. Sometimes they resort to consuming human flesh, raiding settlements of other indigenous tribes of Brazilian peasants and fishermen. They continue to live in isolation after being discovered in 1996 due to the threat of external infections to which they have no immunity, leading to the death of many tribe members. Therefore, when a white person appears, they flee in terror, fearing catching a disease. The life of the Karubo is full of mysteries. They live in small houses made of palm leaves and other natural materials, hunt with primitive tools like bows and arrows, and their adornments are made from animal teeth and feathers. Their traditions and rituals include an initiation rite for young men, where they spend a night in a cemetery, considered full members of the community after that. Surprisingly, they do not practice polygamy. Each man has only one wife, which is rare for Amazon tribes. But some more studied tribes also have their unusual traditions. For example, the Surma people, known for body modifications. The lips of these aborigines are stretched to unimaginable sizes. This tradition applies only to the tribe's women. From a young age, girls have a cut made in their lower lip and a round plate inserted into the resulting cavity. As they grow older, larger wooden or clay plates are inserted. Thus, the lips can stretch to several tens of centimeters. The Aborigines believe that the more stretched the lip, the higher the girl's status in the tribe and the more dowry she can get from the groom's family. Men, on the other hand, limit themselves to body painting using chalk and henna. Besides modifications, these people are known for their cruelty. The Aborigines did not take kindly to any benefits of civilization except for the AK-47 assault rifle. Obtained during the civil war in Sudan, the members of the Surma tribe use firearms to protect their cattle and villages from outsiders. Their rites are also dangerous. For example, the initiation of boys into adulthood involves beating a young man nearly to death with sticks before considering him a man. The Surma tribe lives in Ethiopia and South Sudan. Just one look at them is enough to understand that these people have some peculiarities. The Pantupi 9 is a small tribe of indigenous people consisting of only 9 individuals living in a remote area of Western Australia. The tribe was discovered in 1984 and unlike many isolated ethnicities, its members gladly joined the larger society and readily abandoned their ancient traditions. Aborigines who understood the language of the isolated tribe tracked them down and told them that they no longer needed to wander the desert for water and food, as there is a place on the planet where water flows from the pipes and there is always enough food. Members of the Pantupi Nine turned out to be incredibly talented. Some of them now paint beautiful pictures, while others make traditional tribal decorations and artifacts. More like a club than a tribe. Interestingly, only one person from the entire tribe did not want to part with his former life, Yari Yari. He alone has remained in the Gibson Desert, living in complete isolation for about 40 years. The Sentinelese tribe is known as unfriendly and hostile. They are one of the most isolated and least studied tribes. Almost nothing is known about their customs and way of life. It's clear that their culture has remained practically unchanged over many years, as even after a century, approaching the Sentinelese is nearly an impossible task. In 1974, specialists from National Geographic tried to connect with the Aborigines. The expedition had to be aborted after a project cameraman was shot in the leg with an arrow, and 2 Indian guides were killed. In 2006, the Sentinelese killed 2 fishermen fishing near the island and shot at a helicopter sent to retrieve the bodies. The bodies could not be retrieved. However, from these few attempts to contact the Aborigines, some things were learned about their culture. The Sentinelese number about 300 people. They use fire, can build canoes, and weave baskets. They live in temporary huts covered with leaves. They sustain themselves by gathering mollusks and wild plants, fishing, and hunting. Likely they don't cultivate plants, as coconuts given to the Aborigines as a peace offering were immediately eaten. A doll given to them was buried, as they mistook it for a dead girl. They reacted differently to objects. Red plastic buckets delighted them, while identical green ones were rejected. Scientists have stopped trying to contact this wild tribe. Moreover, a recent ban on visiting Sentinel Island was imposed. The Indian government is trying to protect the Aborigines from inevitable death. For a long time, scientists and researchers tried to establish contact with the Jarawa tribe, but every attempt was unsuccessful. Even gifts of fabrics and food left on the shore were thrown back into the ocean by the natives. However, in the 1970s, contact was finally established with the Aborigines. They began to accept sacks of rice and eventually allowed strangers to enter their territories, but apparently in vain. In the mid-20th century, roads were laid through the territories of the Aborigines, connecting the administrative center of the island with remote settlements. Local authorities prohibited anyone from stopping on the road where the savages live, getting out of the car, or contacting them. However, not everyone adheres to the rules. Some tourists share food with the savages and give them various items. In return, the Aborigines perform their dances for the guests. Such a cultural exchange. As a result of such interaction with strangers, a few years ago about half of the tribe members died from measles and other viruses to which the savages' immune systems were not prepared. Today, the Jarawa still live on the islands. Quite a lot is known about their culture. They hunt, fish, gather wild bee honey, plants, berries, and fruits. They also carefully protect their culture and adamantly refuse any progress. One of the most famous tribes of Papua New Guinea is the Asara Mudmen, known for their terrifying clay masks. For a long time, the Asara Mudmen smeared their bodies with mud, wore clay masks, and made bamboo fingers to look like evil spirits. The tribe's legend says that they were once defeated by another tribe and had to flee to the Asara River and hide in the water. When night fell, the escapees emerged from the water to look around. The enemies at that moment saw them covered in river mud, mistook them for ghosts, and ran away in fear. The defeated tribe returned to their homes. But the funny thing is that the enemies also returned to their village to understand what happened, but were again frightened by the mud-covered Asara Mudmen and fled. The invading tribe was so scared that they conducted a ritual to exorcise spirits in their village. In this unusual way, the Asara Mudmen protected their village. And since then, to scare off new enemies, they made terrifying masks out of clay. Nowadays, however, such a masquerade is just a tribute to the past. Mainly, the Asara Mudmen apply mud and wear masks only for shows and festivals, which they regularly hold in Goroka for visiting tourists. Another unusual tribe lives on the coast of Thailand, or rather on the water. The Moken, or Sea Gypsies, spend most of their lives in wooden boats off the coasts of the numerous islands of the Magui archipelago. These nomadic people obtain their food by diving underwater and catching prey with their hands, and they kill particularly agile sea creatures using special spears and nets. The Moken's boats, in addition to a bedroom, also have a kitchen, so the caught prey can be cooked right there. However, each year there's less and less food as humanity pollutes the oceans and large companies catch a lot of fish for sale. This means the Moken tribe is on the brink of extinction. But this cannot be allowed because the Moken are unique, possessing a particular ability. Underwater, they see everything just as they do on land. Thanks to their centuries-old lifestyle under the water, the structure of their eyes has become different from those of ordinary humans. At depths, their pupils narrow and stabilize the image, allowing them to see better. Almost nothing is known about the Kawahiva savages. Scientists don't even know what language the representatives of this uncontacted genus speak. Seeing them is also extremely rare. Interacting with the Kawahiva is extremely difficult due to their rejection of contact with the outside world. Scientists have managed to establish some communication through intertribal translators, but overall the tribe remains practically isolated. For example, it was discovered that at night Kawahiva men come to neighboring villages and frighten local residents, imitating the voices of wild animals and birds. One of the strangest customs of the Kawahiva is the ritual of cutting teeth. Men in the tribe have their front teeth pushed out or cut out, giving them a unique appearance. This custom has its symbolic and cultural meanings. In attempts to learn anything about the unsociable savages, scientists follow their trails and sometimes find abandoned settlements. Researchers discovered that upon leaving, the Kawahiva leave behind kitchen utensils, woven baskets filled with nuts, hammocks, and weapons in their dwellings. Based on these observations, specialists have speculated that the Aborigines constantly migrate from place to place. In the territory of Brazil, near the Maiche River, there's another interesting people, the Piraha. Especially surprising is the language of this tribe. It lacks the usual designations for colors, numbers, and numerals familiar to us and many other people. Even such words as few, many, more, several, each, and others are not used by the Piraha. They don't know what time it is, can barely count, and from this their perception of the world is radically different from ours and from other tribes. Due to the lack of words for numbers, the Piraha are unable to solve even the simplest mathematical problems. They are also unable to estimate the number of objects if there are more than 3. These unusual and peculiar people live in the here and now, do not make plans for the future, and the past has no meaning for them. They don't know hours, days, mornings, nights, and especially no daily routine. The Piraha believe that sleep is harmful because it makes you weak, and in sleep you sort of die and wake up a slightly different person. Therefore, they just doze off in 20-30-minute naps, and the rest of the time they are busy with something. Aborigines from the Korowai tribe live in tree houses built at a height of 50 meters. They build walls and roofs from banyan boards and small branches, and each house is accessed by a very flimsy ladder made of branches, which is extremely difficult for an ordinary person to climb. Such an unusual choice of dwelling for others is not baseless. Firstly, in this way, the Korowai protect themselves from predators and attacks from neighboring tribes, and secondly, they believe that evil spirits cannot climb to such a height. The Korowai consider white people evil too. Despite limited contact with the outside world, they tend to believe that white people are possessed by demons. Therefore, they kill all of them on the spot, so as not to let demonic forces penetrate the village. Thanks to this, the Korowai tribe is considered one of the most cruel on our planet. Moreover, it is known that these Aborigines practice cannibalism. Rumors suggest that Michael Rockefeller, the heir to the vast Rockefeller fortune, died at their hands. In November 1961, he explored the remote jungles of the Asmat region in New Guinea with a Dutch anthropologist. On the morning of November 17, 1961, the two researchers capsized in a canoe. After drifting for several hours, Rockefeller thought he could swim to shore and find help. This was the last time Michael Rockefeller was seen alive. As you can understand, not all people on our planet need civilization. Some are better left alone. Thanks for watching.